So we are back, and we're going to be talking about the history of Power Struggle. Even though it only started in 2011, I think there's a lot of working parts and pieces with Power Struggle that need to be discussed because it is one of their major pay-per-views. So Yuke's previously owned New Japan Pro Wrestling's, like, the majority of their stock. So they own New Japan. And when Bushiroad bought them out for $6.5 million, they decided to do a bunch of expansions as regards to everything that they were doing, from tours to more emphasis on more of an American-style wrestling to that expansion, but also to pay-per-views. And they added in a bunch of events, because I think at the time that Yuke's was having them, they only had maybe 4 or 5, but now they have basically 1 a month, give or take, depending on the importance. So they decided to bring in Power Struggle as basically, this is the Road to Wrestle Kingdom show. When you watch Power Struggle, this is essentially what they're going to be doing and setting up for Wrestle Kingdom. And I think we really saw a lot of that last week, or last night, I should say, during the show. Now let's talk about the arena, because they have done it in this arena, which is the Osaka, what is it called? The Osaka Prefectural Gymnasium. It has a capacity about 8,000 people, and it is basically the sumo mecca for the spring sumo tournament that happens in early March to mid to late March. And here's the thing. A lot of people, I think, in America do not know the significance of sumo. And maybe it's something that we might discuss at a later point, because there's so much cultural and a lot of history when it comes to sumo wrestling. And actually, the spring event is the last one before their major event in the summer. And I've been to the sumo event, and it is crazy. If you think they're respectful up until a takedown, and it just becomes a madhouse, because there's a lot of sports betting when it comes to sumo. And this is one of the shows that they like to do, because a lot of the rikishis or the competitors are ranked at the spring show, which is hosted in the Osaka Gymnasium. And so there's a lot there. With 8,000 people, there have been a lot of shows that have had, good and bad. So this is the 2014's Power Struggle, which had the most people attending the event. I think it was about 7,500 people attending this event. And it was main evented by the Intercontinental Championship match between Shinsuke Nakamura and Katsuyori Shibata. So definitely a hard-hitting match, and this was Shinsuke's, top-tier heel, right? 9 televised matches and 1 dark match, and there you go. I'm sorry, yeah, this was 2014's.
Right.
So, and there were the other matches included the Time Splitters, which is Alex Shelley and Kushida, defending the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Champions against Red Dragon, which was Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly. Chase Owens defending the NWA World Junior Heavyweight Champion against Jushin Thunder Liger. And AJ Styles took on Yoshi-Tatsu. And the event was also the first Power Struggle that had a major corporation with Ring of Honor. There we go. My brain totally froze because they started doing their partnership earlier that year. The 2016, so obviously the 2020 event was the least attended, but in a outside circumstance that had to happen. So we're not even going to count that as the least attended show. The one that was actually least attended was the 2016's, because I am an idiot and screwed it up. The 2016 show was the least attended one, and that had 9 televised once again and 1 dark. And it had Tetsuya Naito defending the Intercontinental Champion, the IWGP Intercontinental Champion, against Jay Lethal. And other matches included Katsuyori Shibata defending the Never Openweight Championship against Evil, Hiroshi Tanahashi versus SANADA, and Bushi defending the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship against Kushida. In the 2016 show, they had 5,060, and the 2014 show, they had 750 people attending that show. every single main event of this show had three different championships, and there has never been a stray from it. Either the IWGP World Heavyweight, which was the first debut last night, the Heavyweight Champion, and the Intercontinental Champion in some way, shape, or form, including the double title, which we already had, and we'll talk about that later. So the person who has attended the most main events for Power Struggle was Hiroshi Tanahashi with 3 different main events with Power Struggle. And a tie with, I think, like 5 people here for the second most is Shinsuke Nakamura, Tetsuya Naito, Carl Anderson, and Evil, who have attended 2 main events. And then, obviously, the rest of the people have only had 1 main event. And really, that's it. It's not a terribly long wrestling lesson because there isn't really other historic stuff because it's only been around for 10 years. But I feel like with Power Struggle being that November main show, it's something to keep an eye on, especially if you're a New Japan fan, because this is where they start with the road to Wrestle Kingdom is here. And then they start a tour, I think, in a couple of days. And then they're right into Wrestle Kingdom. So, they're doing the Junior Tag League, and then it's Wrestle Kingdom. So I think they have one more with the tags. So that's pretty much about it. When we come back, we're not only going to make Power Struggle 2021 and New Japan Pro Wrestling Majestic again, but we're going to make Pro Wrestling Majestic again.
Perfect.